When you look at the Dubai skyline, the Burj Khalifa is what grabs your eye. It's just this incredible symbol of modern ambition. But what you might not know is that it's doing a crucial, almost invisible job for the entire city. Let's get into it.
And that is not an exaggeration. We're talking about the world's tallest building being engineered to act like a sophisticated, citywide bodyguard against one of nature's most powerful forces. So the real question is, how does it go from being just a passive target to an active defender?
Well, the whole story really starts with one simple, unavoidable fact. Its incredible size. I mean, when you build something that literally scrapes the sky, you're basically putting up a giant hit me sign for any thunderstorm in the area.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. 828 meters. That's over half a mile high. It means the Burj Khalifa is almost always the closest object to the region's supercharged clouds. And, as we all kind of learned back in science class, lightning is lazy. It's always going to look for the path of least resistance.
So here's the key. It doesn't just attract lightning. Its height practically guarantees it's going to be the target. Any electrical storm rolling through is pretty much always going to see the tower as the quickest, easiest route to the ground. But this is where things get really, really clever. This is where passive reality meets active, brilliant engineering. So how does the tower take control? Well, way up at the very tip of the spire, there's this small, pretty unassuming device that doesn't just wait around for a lightning strike. It actually sends out a direct invitation. This system is incredibly proactive. First, a sensor detects all that electrical buildup in a nearby cloud. Then, in response, the arrestor generates an opposite charge right there on its surface, which creates this powerful electrical pull. It's basically baiting the lightning, actively luring the bolt towards itself and away from anywhere else in the city. It's not a shield, it's a magnet. Okay, so the tower has successfully called the lightning to it. Now for the next huge challenge. Surviving a jolt of electricity that's powerful enough to burn through pretty much anything. How on earth do you guide that much power without frying the building's core and everyone inside? Well, the answer is in this fascinating principle of physics. The hero of this part of the story is something called the skin effect. Turns out, high-frequency currents, like a bolt of lightning, they really prefer to travel along the outer surface of a conductor, not through its center. The engineers behind the Burj Khalifa knew this, and they used this principle on an absolutely epic scale. And here's the result. That massive flow of electrons from the lightning strike is forced to travel down the skin of the building. In this case, its external steel columns. This creates a kind of invisible superhighway for electricity on the outside, leaving the internal core, with all the residents, offices, and sensitive equipment, completely safe and totally unaware that millions of volts are just racing by, only a few meters away. All right, the electricity has been caught, and it's been safely channeled down the outside of the building. But all that energy has to go somewhere, right? The final step in this whole process is to get rid of it, to neutralize the threat completely. The journey ends deep underground. The current gets funneled from those outer columns directly into the steel rebar of the tower's massive foundation piles. These piles, which are already driven deep into the earth to support the building's insane weight, they serve a second purpose. They act as the final pathway to disperse that huge electrical charge safely into the planet. The entire journey from sky to deep earth is just perfectly managed. So, we know the tower can protect itself, which is amazing. But the truly brilliant part of this design is how it protects everything around it. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Right. This is where the sheer scale of the Burj Khalifa becomes so important. What happens when you have one single building that's so much taller than everything else around it, and it's armed with this active, lightning-attracting tech? It creates a protective zone, what you could call an urban umbrella, because the tower is the most attractive and, frankly, aggressive target for lightning in the whole area. It effectively vacuums up the electrical threats right out of the sky. Strikes that might have hit smaller buildings or power grids or other infrastructure are instead drawn to the Burj Khalifa, where they're just safely handled. So the next time you see one of those incredible photos of lightning striking the Burj Khalifa, don't just see it as a beautiful, dramatic shot. See it for what it actually is, a triumph of engineering, where this massive architectural icon is also a silent, high-tech guardian actively policing the sky to keep an entire city safe down below.